although it's been many years since I did this, I can still remember pretending as a kid, playing with the neighbors, cowboys and Indians, or whatever other thing we were playing, and the characters that we were pretending to be. And so it was always a great time pretending, but that also came to an end. But in our passage today, Jesus is going to talk about that in Matthew chapter 6. Also, 1 Samuel 22, Psalm 17 and 35 in my reading for today. But I want to just call our attention to this verse in Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen by men. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. Well, the word hypocrites is an interesting word here in this passage. Another word that could be used here is the word pretenders or actors. The suggestion is that these people, the Pharisees, were only pretending, acting a part. They were not genuine or sincere in their praying. They were merely going through the motions, as it were. And the purpose for that was to impress people. They were doing it for the praises of the people that they were praying in front of. The implication is that while they were doing this, they themselves seemed to think that they were doing the will of God, that they were actually working their way into heaven. The tragedy of pretending is that the ones who are the most deceived are the ones that are doing the pretending. There's no real substance or depth to their praying. They were only saying the words, going through the motions, if you will, but the words were not coming from their hearts. And the problem with that is that where does God look? He looks on the heart, and he sees the deceitfulness of their praying. Interesting that twice in the chapter, this pretending is addressed by the Lord. Once about prayer, and the other, verse 16, about fasting. Both of these are spoken of because they are done in such a way as to be an outward expression of an inner relationship, which was only outward. The inward part was non-existent. They were only pretending so that people would think they were very spiritual, when in fact they were not. They were just pretending. They were acting a part. Also interesting that they wore clothing that portrayed who they were. They loved to be seen in the marketplaces and around the town, and to be identified as holy men. Their garb, their prayers, and their painted faces were all done to have people be impressed. And Jesus said that when people acknowledged them as such, that was their reward. They sought to be praised by men, and when they were thusly praised, that was their reward. On the other hand, Jesus said that those things that they were doing publicly, he said they should be done privately, and in such a way that no one else would know what we were doing or why we were doing it. That is, to pray in a closet and without the makeup that made their faces look like they were gaunt and had been fasting for a long period of time. Then, Jesus says, the reward for those disciples would come from the Lord and not from men. Just a powerful statement to us about how we live our lives. Are we pretending, or are we the real deal? Are we the genuine article? Are we praying in secret so that our Father in heaven hears us and sees us? Or do we love the praises of men? And that's a really crucial question for us. Whether pastor or pew sitter, doesn't make any difference. That we need to be genuine in our walk and our relationship with the Lord, spending time with him and not doing it for the praises of men. Amen. Well, I pray the Lord will bless you today as you walk with him and live a life that is genuine without pretense. Amen. Lord bless you.